to Puan Hajah Hanisa binti Yusof, the Head Assistant Director of Language Unit, Academic Sector, JPN Selangor, Ms. Zahirah binti Zulkifli, the Assistant Director of English Language Unit, Academic Sector, JPN Selangor, the beloved SIC Plus officers, teachers and friends. Before we start, I would like to start our session today with Surah Al-Fatihah. Could you please recite Surah Al-Fatihah? Thank you so much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amin, amin, ya Rabbal Alamin. Yes, I think you guys can actually detect my nervous voice. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've been delivering some sharings. So Alhamdulillah, I've been given an opportunity today. Thank you so much to Puan Hajah Hanisa and also Ms. Zahirah for the opportunity. And of course, I hope all of you are in good health and may God safeguard you from any illness and sickness. Inshallah, Ameen. And of course as well, thank you so much for joining our PLC session today on data analysis. As you have seen shared on your screen, our PLC today is on data analysis, especially for English language middle leaders. So I believe you guys are selected middle leaders. MashaAllah. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, so I hope we will be blessed with the time we spent today. So to further marry our PLC today, I would like to invite Puan Hajah Hanisa to deliver some words of wisdom, her speech. Puan Hajah, please welcome.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can you hear me clearly, Madihah? I think.
Yeah, we can hear. I can hear you clearly. I hope everyone could hear you as well. Yeah, it's a bit dark. We can't really see you clearly, but we can hear you well.
Sebab di KL ni mendung.
I see.
Okay. Sekejap, okay. Tak apalah. Okay ya. Okay, first and foremost, okay, my congratulations, my big congratulations to all the presenters today, especially Cik Zahirah from Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri Selangor, Ms. Pulau, and Cik Madihah herself. Okay, thank you very much for the sharing of this PLC today. Yeah, it is a very good PLC. Yeah, sama-sama sharing di antara ketiga-tiga. Ya, seluruh Selangor. Saya tengok setakat ni dah ada 239 orang MLT yang joining this what they call it, this LC di sini. This is orang kata is open, yeah, it's not a compulsory. For those who are interested, you are mostly invited to join in, yeah. Sebab kita dalam what they call it, dalam keadaan PDPR sekarang, ya, kita tak nak ganggu cikgu. Jadi, but still we have program for teachers in terms of orang kata to improve orang kata professionalism, yeah, to upgrade your professionalism. We have to carry out this kind of program, so that everybody has the chances, everybody has the opportunity to share, okay, especially in this PLC, in order to sort of in the future, it will upgrade your professionalism, especially in data analysis, ya tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. This is very important, ya. Kalau dulu kita orang kata analyze data, UPSR, berapa A, berapa B, berapa C, berapa D, but nowadays, especially when we talk about sekolah rendah, kita have changed into what we call it antara pentaksaan assessment, school-based assessment, ya. Kita dah mula masuk kepada PBD. Jadi bila PBD ni tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, it's going to be a little bit of perubahan, ya, in terms of when you do your data analysis. So first of all, saya mengambil kesempatan ini untuk mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Ya, baru-baru ini saya ada minta maklumat, ya, PPD daripada sekolah-sekolah berkaitan dengan pencapaian PPD 2018, 19, 2020, especially for year 1 and year 5, ya. Saya ucapkan terima kasih lah atas kerjasama tuan-tuan dan puan-puan memberi kerjasama, walaupun saya tahu, ya, benda ni memang rumit, tapi alhamdulillah kita berjaya mengumpulkan maklumat-maklumat yang diperlukan daripada yang seperti dikehendaki oleh ELTC. So, untuk maklumat tuan-tuan dan perempuan, so I tak naklah bila you all kumpul data, it's just kumpul and that's it. Dia tak buat apa-apa. No, actually tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, this is very important, data analysis. You have to know what to do with that data. Okay? Because when we talk about, bila saya cakap tentang, we talk about English language, it's the teamwork tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. It's not that kalau macam dulu dia kata, dua lah to make sure, guru-guru tahap dua lah yang memastikan, okay, all the students mesti mencapai all these 4 skill. Kalau dulu orang kata mesti mencapai lulus. No, it is a teamwork of all the English teachers in the school from year 1 until year 6. It is an ongoing assessment. So with the new pentaksiran ini is a teamwork. So as a ketua panitia ataupun yang belum, mungkin saya rasa ada yang bukan dalam what I call it MLT dalam ni, tak apa, it's okay. You're gonna learn somehow. You have to know how to analysis and you have to know how to present it to your teachers. Ya, kalau bila in terms of presentation, itulah kalau kita present nombor-nombor, orang tak berapa suka. Tapi bila data analysis, what you're gonna have to learn to learn about this is how to make people impressive with the data you have. Okay, you have the data and how do you impress your teachers especially, and then your pentadbir. Okay, with the data, ya, ditunjukkan apakah isu-isu, because dengan data lagi tahu, ya. Data orang kata explain everything, ya. Explain everything is what is happening in the school and about the teacher who is teaching that class. Believe it, betul tak? Because data represent what is happening in the classroom about the teachers and also the students. So, take this opportunity, ya. So, bila bercakap dari come back against that, saya kata is a teamwork. Yes, everybody has main peranan. As the middle leaders, yeah, you have to make sure that kalau misalnya budak tu masuk in year 1, ya, kalau masuk tu, dia tak kenal what they call it, A sampai apa, dia tak kenal 10 huruf. Ya, tapi by the end of the years, make sure that all this year 1 kenal minimum 5 words. Contoh, I bagi, there must be an improvement. Okay, masuk juga dengan year 2. Kalau misalnya minimum of 20 words, at least ada 10 already. Masuk year 3, minimum of 30 words, minimum of 20 already. So, maknanya you must have every teachers in every years, you must have that target. Okay, you have to have that apa ni orang kata, pencapaian yang perlu dilakukan. That's why bila kita kata di peringkat jabatan, di peringkat PTD, baik pun di peringkat sekolah, you mesti kerap adakan dialog prestasi dengan cikgu you untuk melihat di manakah pencapaian budak-budak tu. Ya, bagi saya dalam satu kelas, bukanlah kita anggap 100%, at least, ya, there will be students yang memang kita kata susah nak dapat 100%, tapi at least 70%, ya, akan berlaku perubahan, ya, daripada budak tu masuk pada awal Januari sampai ke Disember. Every year there must be opportunity. Tadi inilah dia kata data analysis yang akan membantu cikgu-cikgu, ya. Kalau dulu zaman saya data analysis tu lah borang dia banyak-banyak nombor-nombor, tak gitu grafik. But what you are going to learn today is going to be very interesting, ya. In fact, saya pun masih saya ni belajar, ya. Berapa kali dah data analysis ni saya belajar in terms of how to present it in a situation yang sekarang ni lah, ya. This is very important, okay. Sebab sekarang ni bila PPD, we talk about PPD, we are playing with PPD now, ya. Jadi untuk itu, ya, first and foremost, again, ya, thank you very much for Zahirah, Vilo and Madihah. But I do believe data analysis is going to be end today. You akan belajar everything today, ya. Tapi this is a part of the first step, ya. Then lebih kalau tuan-tuan pernah tengok kata data studio, banyak ya proses. Many people has their own way of presenting and sharing what they know about data studio or data analysis. But today we have 3 special people to share with you all, yeah, what they know about this data analysis, especially when we're talking about school of Indah. Okay, I'm going to take more time on that. Okay, thank you, Madihah. Nice to see you again. Okay, with that, okay, thank you, Madihah. That's all. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Puan Hajah, for that wonderful speech. I believe that we all come up with the same intention as Puan Hajah have shared just now. And thank you so much for reminding us again. Okay, now, Before I pass the baton to our presenter today, allow me to introduce our speaker. There are speakers actually, there are more than one speaker. So first and foremost, our very own Ms. Zahirah binti Zulkifli, the State English Officer, which will be facilitated by Ms. Viloshena and also myself. And one more thing, just a little bit of a housekeeping, some rules and regulations, which I believe is familiar to us all. So please make sure that your mic is turned off, and if needed, your camera too. But you may turn on your camera if you feel like turning it on. And yes, if you have questions, please feel free to comment on the question box on the activity button at the bottom on your right hand side. You can find the question box turned on by our admin, and you may actually post your question there and we will cater to your question, inshallah. Okay. So, and we also would like to encourage everyone to be active participants in this session with hopes that we all will be benefited with sharing, inshallah. So, without further ado, please welcome Ms. Zahirah.
All right. Okay, thank you, Miss Madihah. All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon to all. Okay, so before I begin, okay, let me stop sharing first. Okay. All right. Miss Viloshena, could you please share the slides? All right. Okay, can you see? Okay, I cannot see the slides. No. Yeah. Maybe you should try and share it again. Okay. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us today. Okay, thank you to Puan Hajah Hanisa for the welcoming speech. All right, so I believe that we haven't done a lot of sharing. Okay, so hopefully today's session it will benefit all of us today. Okay, and I can see that it's already full house. Okay, for today's session. All right, so there you go. So welcome to our PLC session, Data Analysis for English Language Middle Leaders. Okay, all right. So okay, next for today's session, all right. Okay, we are going to look at how do we analyze our data that we have. All right. Okay, so before we start, all right, we will have some a starter activity. Okay, next, starter activity. All right. Okay. So as you can see, okay, in this slide, this is a data, okay, example of data SKPMG2 standard 3 for 4 schools. All right, and you can see that there are 4 aspects there. Okay, I will give you some time, okay, few minutes for you to go through the data. Try to look at the data. Okay, I hope you can see it on your screen. Okay, have a look, all right, for each school and each aspect. Okay, and then you can answer the question in the polls. Okay, you can see the activities button on your bottom right. Okay, click on the activities button. Okay, and then you can see okay, the first question. Can you see the first question? Which one of these 4 schools outperform the other schools? All right, okay. Yes, you can see. Okay, good. So, yeah, have a look at the table and then try to answer the first question. Okay. All right. Easy question, right? Okay. So this is the starter activity. Okay. All right. For those who have answered the first question, you can try to answer the second question. Which school needs extra guidance and support? All right. Which school need extra guidance and support? Okay. And the last one, the last question. Okay. Can you see the last question? Which aspect that most schools need support? Okay. Which aspect that most schools need support? All right. Okay, so we have here, we have 250 people in this meet today. So I received about 60 votes. So yeah, okay, I'm still waiting for the teachers to answer the questions. All right. And then we discuss what is the answer for all three questions. It's easy, right? Okay. Okay. Okay, so so for the first question, all right, for the first question, which one of these four schools outperform the other schools? So the answer, okay, based on the table, you can see that the answer is B, school B, all right, because the overall mark is the highest, right? 91.75. Okay, correct. Okay, but some answers answered A and D. Never mind, it's okay. All right, question number 2. Which school needs extra guidance and support? Okay, so which school do you think that needs the most support? Your answer, okay, most teachers answered A. Yeah, okay, correct. So school A needs extra guidance and support. Okay. Okay. Which aspect that that most schools need support? Okay, sorry. I put it A, B, C, D. So, I assume that A is for pengurusan curriculum, right? B, pengurusan mata pelajaran. C, pengurusan masa instructional. And D is for pengurusan penilaian murid. Okay, I'm sorry. I put A, B, C, D. Sorry about that. Okay, so which one? Which aspect do you think? Anyone can turn on the mic and answer?
C.
C?
Yeah.
All right.
D.
No, I mean which aspect? Aspect pengurusan curriculum? Is it pengurusan mata pelajaran?
Pengurusan
Masa.
Pengurusan pengurusan masa instructional. Really? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pengurusan mata pelajaran.
Pengurusan mata pelajaran. So how do you know that why do you say that it's pengurusan masa instructional? Why do you say that it's pengurusan mata pelajaran? Okay. So, if we have a look, okay, at the data, and if we do the average, right? Okay. The average will be if we take the average, then the aspect that need most support is pengurusan mata pelajaran. Alright. But then, okay, This is where we use the data that we have. Okay, so basically, for example, in let's say in my district or in my state, okay, these are the 4 schools. Okay, overall, the lowest score is the pengurusan mata pelajaran, correct? Okay, but then um, does every school needs that support in that aspect? No, that's why we have this data and we try to zoom in. Which school actually really needs that support under the pengurusan mata pelajaran. So if we can see that there are 2 schools whereby it's school A and school D. All right. Okay. So, all right. Thank you everyone for the for taking part in the first session. Okay. All right. Now next. Okay. Next. Yeah. Next. I guess there's someone raising up their hand. Dr. Azizan, do you have any question? No, I hope there's no question. All right. Maybe she accidentally raised up her hand. Okay. All right, never mind. So now we look at the objective for today's session. All right. There are 2 objectives. The first one is by the end of the session, participants should be able to analyze the data based on each skill. Okay, and the second one is to use the data-driven approach to plan intervention for pupils' improvement. Okay, all right. So the success criteria. Okay, we have 3 success criteria. The first one, okay, is to be able to analyze the data using table and bar graph. Okay, second, to use data to identify pupils and issues for interventions. Okay, and the third one is use the data to personalize interventions according to pupils' needs using PSQ, or known as Problem Solving Quadrant. So we are going to use PSQ to personalize the intervention. All right, next. Okay, so before I proceed further, all right, can you tell me, okay, why data is important? Why is data important? Okay, and second, how can data help you and your pupils? All right, so there are 2 questions here. And can you see the QR code? Okay, there is a QR code. If you have your phone with you, you can just scan the QR code, or I will share with you the link to the Mentimeter. Okay, so I'll give you about 5 minutes, okay, for teachers to answer the first and the second question. I think I will share the screen. Okay, okay. Hold on, All right. I will share the screen. It's okay. Okay. The cat. Sorry. Okay. Hold on. I'm sharing the screen. Hold on, Okay. All right. Can you see my screen? Okay. Okay. So we've got some answers. Okay. We got 18 people responded, 21. So let me go through some of the answers. Okay. I believe there's no right or wrong answer. Okay. So why data is important? Data is important to keep track, okay, on the progress of your work. Correct. Get correct info. Show evidence on the grading. Okay. Help plan improvements. Get correct facts. Okay. So these are some of the answers, yeah, from teachers. Okay, data allows to measure. Okay, you'll be able to establish baseline. All right. Okay, good. Okay, data is important to set up data goals as evidence. All right. So these are all brilliant answers. Okay, well done. All right, let's see this next. The next question. How can data help you and your students? Okay. How can data help you and your students? All right. Okay. All right. So, okay, to plan intervention, yes. To track progress. Okay. All right. All right. Okay, so we have to evaluate progress of pupils, to set suitable goal, okay, to overcome problems and to improvise. Okay, these are all excellent answers, all right? So I don't think I need to continue. Everyone is like very knowledgeable on data analysis. Okay, with all the answers, I can see that all of you are very good. Okay, okay, okay. Track students' progress. Okay. So I guess yeah, you can still type your answers. Okay, I'll be stop sharing this screen and we continue um with the slides. All right. Okay. Okay. So from the answers, okay, I can see that all of you understands why data is important to all of you, especially we as teachers. All right. Okay. So the first one is okay, we can understand actually where the students are in relation to the expected curriculum standards. So meaning that we know where our students are, okay? And then on the teacher's part, we can identify the focus for professional development for teachers, meaning that not only we are thinking about the students' outcome, but also we think of what we need, okay, for our professional development. All right. And basically, okay, I will just go through the importance of the data analysis. All right. Whereby, okay, you use this data to guide for your teaching and learning instruction and also improve your students' learning. Basically, is to improve the students' learning. And also, when you have this data analysis, it can provide, okay, a snapshot, okay, of what first the student knows, what they should know, and what can be done to meet their needs. Okay, so basically three things that what students know, what they should know, and what can be done to meet their needs. All right, so it helps you in making decision. All right. Okay, and at the end of the day, it's all about the student's outcome. Okay, and I believe that there are many research, telling about the benefits of data analysis, whereby it helps to improve in students' performance, academic performance. All right, and secondly, for teachers, it helps to for capacity building of teachers. Okay, so what we want to do, how we can improve our teaching and learning. All right, whether we want to give more scaffolding to the students or we want to give more enrichment for students. Okay, the next slide. Okay, so what is data analysis? Okay, we can see that data analysis is actually the process of collecting, modeling, and analyzing data to extract insights that support our decision making. All right, the decision making that we make. So, meaning that the data that produce meaningful information and summary. Okay, so the data that we have produce meaningful information and summary. It can give us something meaningful. All right, so we have
Excuse
them.
me, Cik Zahirah, is the
Yeah.
slide being presented?
Yes, yes.
Okay, we
Oh,
can't
sorry.
see.
You can't see. Oh, okay.
Maybe we need to
In the.
share the screen again. Yeah, because it's not, we can't see the slide music. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Because.
Okay, now we can see it. Great.
All right. Okay. Okay. Slide. The previous slide. Yes, the previous slide. All right. Okay, this one. Okay. So, okay, I'm on here. On this slide. So, we need to have a data, which can give meaningful information for us. Okay, and a summary of what is it about. All right. So, what we can do is we analyze the data, arrange the data, and categorize the data. Okay. Never mind. We go to the next slide. Okay. I will explain to you more. Okay. While we're going through this slide. Okay. All right. So this is the general steps of data analysis. All right. Okay. So the first one is plan and select the data needed. Okay. So as middle leaders, all right. So what is the most important data that you use? Okay, what data that you use? Because now we are talking about data analysis. So for you teachers, what data did you use? Do you use? Yes, okay, correct. Teacher Azlina said PBD. Okay. Okay. So we plan and we select data that PBD data that we are using PBD data. Okay, for today's session also, we are going to use PBD data. All right, next, second one is select appropriate statistical tools to analyze the data. Okay, do you know any statistical tools? Sounds of statistical tools. Okay, for example, I give you example. I think all of you are using this. Microsoft Excel. Do you use Microsoft Excel? Okay. No? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Another example is SPSS. You know SPSS? Okay, for those who, yeah, Google Sheet. Yes. All right. Okay, so you have Excel, you have Google Sheet, you have SPSS and other statistical softwares that you can use. But the most common one that we usually use is the Excel. Or now you use it online, you call it Google Sheet. All right. Okay. Then third one, present the data in appropriate form. So you need to choose how you want to present your data. Is it in table form? Is it in graph? Is it in chart, or the pie chart, or line graph? Okay. And the last one is get other data or information to support the data analyze and plan an intervention before it is being implemented. So meaning that you use other supporting data. Okay, what are the examples of supporting data that you can use? Let's say you have your PBD data, the one that you want to analyze is PBD data. Okay, what are the supporting data that you can use? Any answer? Any answer? Rekod kehadiran. Yes, rekod kehadiran murid. What else? What you key in every day? nowadays? You need to key in. What data is that? Data what? Pelaporan. Yes, data SPDPR.
SPDPR.
True. Okay, so that can be your supporting data. Okay, next. Okay, so now we are going to look at data analysis from the PLC. Okay, PLC. In PLC, okay, we have this PLC concept. Okay, and the concept is called focus, improve, and share. Okay, before that, before I move further, do you know that the data analysis is one of the collaborative tools in PLC? Okay, all right. So when you want to do PLC, okay, data analysis is one of the collaborative tools that you can do during PLC. So later in your school, when you want to do PLC, what is your focus on that day for PLC? So data analysis is one of the tools that you can use during your PLC session. Okay, so this one, okay, is the concept of PLC, whereby it has three keyword there: focus, improve, and share. Okay, next. Okay. Sorry. Focus. Okay, first one, focus. What is focus? You select the data. Okay, once you have selected the data, you analyze the raw data. Okay, next, you improve. You improve on what? On okay, you find supporting data. Okay, you have identified the issue. Okay, you find supporting data and you try to relate the data, and then you share. In share, you make improvement. Okay, you make improvement and intervention, what kind of intervention that you use. And then finally, okay, if you can see the improvements, okay, if there are improvements, you can share the best practices. Okay, next. All right, so now next we are going to look at how we can use table and bar graph to analyze our data. Okay, next. All right. Now, okay. Now you can see there's a sheet, yeah, a worksheet. Okay. Have you seen this worksheet before? This sheet before? Have you seen this before? Yes. Where can you get it? What is this? What do you call this? Template. Yes, everyone said yes. Okay. So this is the Pbd template. Yes, correct, Cikgu Basala. All right, Cikgu Rita. Correct. So we call this, okay, Pbd template or borang template Pbd. Okay. So I believe that all of you are familiar with this, right? Okay. You are you have been filling this form every year, right? Twice a year you fill in. Okay. All right. Now, where do you think you can get this template? Where can you find this template? Or actually where you download it from? Okay. Penyelaras PBD gave it to you. Okay, BPK. Okay, correct. So the correct answer that BPK provides a template for teachers. Okay, you can download the template. You can actually find it on the BPK's website. All right. Okay. All right. So can you alter the template according to your own preference? Can you? One last question. No. Okay, Cikgu Fong said no. No, can you alter it? I don't think so. Okay, you can only yes, no. Actually, you can only fill in the name and the TP, right? okay, the details, but you cannot alter. Maybe you can make a copy, and you know, if you want to analyze, you need to make a copy of that. All right. Okay. Next. Okay. Next is the summary of performance level in Pbd template. Okay. Have you seen this before? Okay. It's in the Pbd template itself. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Because if you see there are many sheets. Okay. In one template, there are many sheets according to the subjects, okay, according to the subjects, and at the end you can find there's a summary of performance level for all subjects. So this is the one that I took from the summary. This is for English. So as we can see, this is only for one class. Okay, so for one class you have this 37 students, whereby they have 7 students in TP3. Okay, the most number of students in TP4, that is 24, and 6 students in TP5. So there's no students who have who are in TP1 and 2. Okay, so all students have achieved the minimum performance level. Okay, so this is how one of the way that you can how you want to analyze the data. All right, so this is only for overall TP. Okay, it's not according to skill. So it's quite difficult if later, if you are using the overall TP to identify or to analyze the issues for each student. All right. Okay. Okay. Next. Can you analyze the graph? Can you create the graph using Pbd template? What I would do is I usually get the information and I transfer it to another sheet so that I can analyze it. All right. And if I want to make the graph or the the chart, I take it and put it on different sheet. Okay. All right. Okay. So, okay, this is another example of data presentation. Okay. The first one is for your class level. Okay, at your class level. This is what you can do at your school level. Okay, for this I use the actual data, the actual data for plan school, sekolah plan. Okay, so this is one of the example. This is for the data for state level. Okay, as you can see there. All right, I put into form. One is in bar graph and another one is in table. Okay. Why? Because in bar graph I can only I only have the percentage. Okay, so I can see how many students actually have not achieved the minimum TP. How many percent have actually achieved the minimum TP. Okay, so it's being represented in the bar graph. But if I want to get the details of the number of students, I will have a look at the table. So this is something that you can do for your school. Let's say if you have, you know, in a big school, or maybe, for example, you have, you want to analyze year 2 or year 3. Okay, the whole year 3 in your school. Okay, so you will have on your left, okay, the classes. Let's say tahun 3, 3A, 3B, 3C. Okay, so you can have the analysis, you put in on in the table, okay, and then you summarize, okay, and you can get the overall year 3 students in your school. Okay, so this is one way that you can do for your data analysis. Okay, so this is what SKP you should know, and you should be doing this. Okay. All right, next. Okay, so this is an example, another example using the Pbd data. Okay, whereby this is according to skills. Okay, according to skills. Just now the first one is the overall TP. This one is according to skills. So this is in one class you have for example 20 students. Okay, you can see okay how many students are in TP1 and TP2. Let's say for speaking. Okay, for speaking. So there are 3 in TP1 and 3 in TP2. If we can see, okay, in TP3, most students are in TP3 for all skills, okay, and the highest is listening, okay, and for in TP4, the highest, okay, number, which skills that you can see is reading, all right. Okay, in reading, there are 8 students who got TP4. So they're doing well in reading. Okay. But however, in writing, let's say we have a look at TP5 or TP6, TP6. There's no students achieve TP6 for speaking and also writing. Yes, correct? Writing, yes, correct. Okay, only in only 3 students, okay, achieve TP6, whereby in listening and also in reading. Yes, I saw the comments there. All right, this is what the KP said. Okay, yes, okay, all right. Next, so this is what this is what actually that the panitia, okay, the English panel should have, okay, the data. This is the data that you need to have for every level, for every year, okay, so that it's easier for teachers to actually come up with issue later when you have the dialogue prestasi. Okay, you're familiar, right, with BP? It's all interrelated. Okay, yes. Okay, next. So next is using data to identify students and issues. Okay. Now, I'll give you some time. Okay, this is a template. If you have a pen and paper with you, okay, you might want to jot down a little bit. Okay, what I want you to do next is to find how many students actually require support in listening, speaking, reading, and writing, and then how many students achieve the curriculum target, and how many students actually on track to exceed. Okay, so there are 3 categories, okay, and there are 4 skills. So later we will show you, next we will show you, okay, a template. All right, this is the Pbd template of 15 students, okay, and okay, I give you about 5 minutes for you to analyze. Okay, how many students that requires support? Okay, that requires support, that achieve the curriculum target, and that are on track to exceed. Okay, so maybe Miss Vilo, you can share the template. Okay, all right. So I'll give about few minutes for you to count, okay, for you to analyze and to count how many students. All right. Okay, I can see okay, some of you have put the answers on the chat box. Okay. Someone asked, what does it mean by on track to exceed? Those who achieve TP5 and 6? Yeah? Okay? Yes. Good question. Yes, good question, Cikgu. Yes. All right, so if you can see just now the template, okay, the students that on track to exceed is actually students who are in TP5 and TP, sure, TP5 and TP6, okay, TP5 and TP6. So students who require support is students who are in TP1 and 2, and students who achieve the curriculum target, mostly students in TP3 and 4. Okay. So as we can see here, all right, I just read out to you. Okay, for listening, number of students who require support. There are 3 students. Okay, who require support for listening. There are 9 students who require support. Who achieve the curriculum target for listening, and students who are on track to exceed 3 students. Okay. Okay, next for students, for speaking, okay, actually there are 6 students who need support, okay, from teachers, okay, and then 7 students who actually achieve the curriculum target, and the 2 students who are on track to exceed. Okay, and reading, there are 5 students who require support. 6 students who require support in reading. Okay, 6 students who already achieved the curriculum target, and 3 students who are on track to exceed. Okay, and last one. Okay, for writing. Okay, the most number of students, 7 who require support. Okay, 5 students who actually achieve the curriculum target, and finally 3 students who are on track to exceed. So meaning that when we look at this, okay, what can you tell me when you look at these 3 categories? Three aspects. I mean, 3 categories of students. You are already categorizing the students, right? You identify and then you categorize the students. Correct, right? Okay. So for example, you look at number of students on track to exceed. So what can you do with these students? This group of students, what can you do? What do you give them? You just leave them to do their work on their own? No? What can you give them actually?
To help their peers.
Yes. Okay, good answer. They can be a buddy. You
Like
can
a
do
buddy,
like,
yes. Buddy system.
buddy system, so they can help their peers. Okay, good. Okay, so and teachers, they can actually,
It can be
yeah,
teacher's assistants.
yes. Yeah, another answer, give enrichment activities. Correct. Okay, so correct. So if students who are already on track to exceed, you can actually plan for enrichment activities. Okay, how about students who require support? Okay, students who require support, meaning that students need your guidance, need your support, okay, need extra help. So this is where the teachers need to plan for remedial activities. This is where teachers need to come out with interventions. Okay, all right. And how about this in the middle category? What do you do with them? What do you do with them? Anyone would like to share? How about in the middle, in the second category, students achieve the curriculum target?
Have to guide them by giving some extra activities to achieve to the higher level, TP5 and 6.
Okay, yes, you provide activities which can help them move, which can push them to achieve TP 5 and 6. Correct. All right. Okay, well done. Okay, next. Okay, next. All right. Now, what are the issues? Just now we already identified how many students, okay? How many students for each skill. Now, we need to come out, we need to think of what are the issues, okay? What are the issues for listening? For example, okay, I give you one example for listening. Okay, maybe the issue here is pupils cannot recognize and reproduce some target language. Okay, they cannot recognize, all right, and reproduce the target language. So can you, I give you like 2 minutes for you to think of what are the issues for other skills. Maybe we can have a look, if we try to focus on requires support. Okay, requires support. So what do you think are the issues for speaking, reading, and writing? All right. What are the issues? If you have your answer, maybe you can you could type in the chat box. Okay. You can just type in the chat box the answer. All right. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Lack of vocabulary. This is the famous answer. Speaking, giving opinion. Okay, students are unable to give their own opinion. Okay, good. Okay. Unable to grasp this, grasp slangs. This is for which skill? Unable to repeat words said by teacher. Okay. Okay, slangs for listening. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, anyone would like to turn on their mic and share your answers? It's okay. You can do so. All right. Okay. Low self-confidence. Yeah, for speaking. Okay. Maybe some students, they have low self-confidence. Yes, they don't understand the language or the accent. For listening. Okay. Yes, for listening, they are unable to understand the slang. Okay. Okay, writing, unable to write simple, short sentences. Okay, all right. Thank you for your response. Okay, I really appreciate all your responses. Okay, all right. Let's have a look at one of the answer given. Lack of vocabulary. This is the favorite answer, especially if let's say the schools need to come up with their dialogue prestasi. They need to analyze, okay, what are the issues. Usually most schools will write lack of vocabulary. So how is it lack of vocabulary hinders them to learn that particular skill? Okay, how is that vocabulary? So you cannot just mention, okay, in general that they are lacking in vocabulary, because actually you want to teach them the skills. Okay, so when you're talking about lack of vocabulary, how is it lack of vocabulary hinders them from learning that particular skill? Okay, so what you need to do, okay, when you are identifying the issue, okay, you need to look back in your DSKP. What are the skills that actually you are teaching? Okay, what are the skills that you actually need to teach the students, and what are the skills that they have not you know achieved, or they did not acquire. All right, so these are the things that you need to look into. Okay, not just by saying that the lack of vocabulary, okay, the grammar the lack of grammar. Okay, all right. So these are some examples. Don't worry. Okay, we are going in depth after this with Miss Viloshena and also Miss Madihah to give you example of how they do they analyze the issue in their classroom. Okay, so what I'm doing what I'm doing now is just in general. All right. Okay, next. Okay, so now we are going in depth. Okay, so we are going to use data to personalize interventions. Okay, use data to personalize interventions. How? By using the problem solving quadrant. Okay, let's have a look at the problem solving quadrant. So, okay, it has it's divided into four table. Okay, 4 columns. All right, the first one, okay, we are going to look this according to the cycle. Okay, from supporting data. Okay, the first one, we identify how many students, who are the students. Okay, number 2, we look at the issue, the root cause. Why the students are still, for example, why the students are still in TP1 and TP2 for speaking, for example. Okay, you identify the root cause. Next, this is only where intervention comes in. Okay, what do you want to do next? It's not when we say about intervention, is what you want to do in the classroom. What are the intervention that you want to do in the classroom? And number 4, strategies. How you want to carry out this instruction. Okay? Sorry, this intervention. Okay, next. All right. So, okay, when you use this PSQ, okay, to identify this to identify students according to their needs. All right. So this we put it in a colorful form. So you will identify how many, sorry, who, how many, why, what, and how. Okay. And what are the skills? Okay. We are looking by skills. All right. Next. Okay. So next, I will pass this floor to Miss Madihah and also Miss Viloshena, okay, to explain or to tell you more, to share with you on how she or how they did their lesson and on how they analyze their data, okay, their PBD data, and put it into this problem solving quadrant. All right, so I think I shall pass this session to Miss Madihah.
All right, thank you, Ms. Zahirah, for the explanation just now. So basically, okay, teachers back with me. So basically, just now, Ms. Zahirah has actually mentioned and shared with us about the PSQ. So that is like theoretically. So here on the slide is what I have written down on how we can do it. This is just a suggestion. But you can actually be creative about it and make it to suit your students. But before I go into the slide, I would like to address some of the issues being raised in the chat box. Teachers, basically what you have mentioned on the chat box is actually the problems that you've seen. So basically you have actually identified the problems, and that is good, teachers, because from there, then you will know how you should start. For example, I would like to address one problem you have found, maybe Cikgu, okay, Cikgu Maziah, okay. So they do not understand the words or sentences, how to acquire skills. So Cikgu, that's good. That means you're really observing your students and trying to understand the problem they're facing. So you've seen that the students couldn't understand the words or sentences. So maybe now you can actually identify which level the students are, their proficiency. But I would like to allow SIC Plus to interrupt as well if I if I were wrong, because I'm not the expert of the subject matter here, but I'm just like another teacher's sharing. So we have identified the problem here is that the students couldn't even understand a word or sentences, but probably maybe they are year 5 and they are still having a proficiency level like year 1 or year 2. So how should we go about it? So you have identified the problem. Maybe the students are in a proficiency level of like probably year 1 and year 2. Maybe you can go down a little bit and cater the problem. So that's where we have to do differentiated strategies, for especially when they are in a perdana classes. So there are like multi proficiencies levels of the students. So that's going to be a bit tricky. I understand that. But somehow teacher, the fact that we tried our best to help these students and improve their proficiency level is something that we should be, I mean, I would like to applaud on that, because I know it's not easy, especially you're having like 40 students per class. So let's say if your students are year 5 and they're still their proficiency level is like year 1 and year 2, which means they're still in word level and phrases level. It doesn't mean that we cannot do the skills. We can still do listening skills, reading skills, but maybe you can actually bring them, not to say isolate them, group them in a smaller groups where you will give more attention to them. That is another differentiated strategies lah. Your time and also maybe your materials. So maybe the perdana students, the other students who are actually at the level they are supposed to be in, so maybe you can give them the tasks or materials that actually fits their level. But the students who you find that are having problems understanding even word level, so maybe these students you can actually still do listening, but try to make it easier for them, so so that they can pass the proficiency of word level and phrases level, and later we can push them to sentence level and maybe paragraph level. It's not easy, but it's a process. So teachers, please don't be hard on yourself. Let's say if the student couldn't do it, try another method. Last year I get to teach the last class. These students are year 5, but some of them couldn't read, and of course I understand how it feels like, and especially when we have to face PDPR, and that gets even more tricky, especially when we need to get them together. So teachers, we can actually I can't say that we can actually gather all the students together, no, but just try your very best to cater these students to their level. If you have to group them in a smaller group or make a different meet group, that's what I did last year. For the students who are having problem in reading, I grouped them into a smaller group, so I made a different meet with them. But of course, my problem was participation, because some students don't have the gadgets, and sometimes I have to call them personally lah. It's a struggle, I must say that. But I would like to applaud those teachers who have tried their very best to actually help the students. So yeah, so for the students that you have found having such problem, try to level it down to their level, so that you can actually help improve them bit by process. Yeah, I think that's what I would suggest. I might be wrong, and maybe you have a better idea than mine, and I'm happy that I appreciate if you could share with us if you would like to. So basically, moving on to the slide. So I will be sharing with you on listening and speaking skill. So based on the data presented just now, so we have identified that there are 6 pupils at performance level below 3, which is TP3 ke bawah lah, below level 3, below level TP3, sorry. So they are in TP2 and TP1. So these students, so basically teachers, whenever we are teaching students, we are referring to the learning objective and also the SKP. So if we refer to the SKP, we can actually find out there are like 6 level. If you're rewarding the student TP1 and TP2, so we can actually get the idea on the student's proficiency level. So based on that proficiency level, we can actually come up with the intervention. For example, from the data, we have graded 6 students under below level 3. So we need to identify, okay, which lessons actually that we have put them into below level 3. Maybe TP1 and TP2. So maybe on listening skill, referring to the DSKP and the TP descriptor. So the pupils might be not able to identify some information listened from some audio recordings. Like one of our friends here just shared just now that maybe they couldn't understand the slang because some of the audios are, yeah, they're a bit British. So that is okay, teacher. So what can we do to help these students? So having identified the problem, so we can come up with an activity that could actually cater the student. If we know that the students couldn't get or comprehend the audio they listened because of the slangs, maybe we can come up with a different one. Maybe you can rephrase it. And to make it more into practice, I would suggest Chinese Whisperer, where apart from them listening to me, they will listen to their friends as well. You know the game Chinese Whisperer, where they would whisper the word and then the last person would actually shout out what are the words being shared. So these could be one of the activities to first to train them in listening skill, and second to drill them with the vocabulary we are teaching. Maybe the other students who are not into TP1 or TP2, they get like longer words or longer sentences or maybe in paragraph level. But these students, we change it a bit, we alter the materials a bit, we try to help them to improve, but at the same time we try to push them from TP2 to TP3. So best to refer to the descriptor because that really helps for us to actually group the students. Yes, the British accents, the pupils sometimes find it hard to understand the audio. Yes, I agree. Some of my students, normally we do listening skill, we repeat the audio 3 times, but sometimes I do repeat it 4 to 5 times because some of my students, they couldn't grasp what they're saying. So teachers, if you're feeling that the audio is a bit difficult, you may record yourself saying it. Maybe because of the accent, because of the slang, but somehow, if the students are used to the slang and the dialects, they would get it. So somehow or other, we need to actually expose them to the slang. But let's say if the students are having major difficulty understanding, you can actually re-record yourself by using your own voice. And then later towards the end, when you know that the students are comfortable and getting comfortable with thank you, Cikgu, getting comfortable with the audio, your own voice, you can actually push it a bit into like British accent so that they don't feel complacent. We are trying to actually push them into improving. Okay, all right. So my suggestion here would be probably Chinese Whisperer. I mean, they would listen to the answer. So basically, it's the same accent. It's the students with another students. So basically, the target pupils will be given extra tasks on listening activity during listening lesson. You can group them. Okay, let's say there are 40 students. The other students, the 34 students, would be actually listening to the audio, the British accent audio. But these 6 students, maybe you can group them at the back, and you can actually carry out the activities with the students. I know the problem would be on classroom management later, but through time and through practice, we also need to practice, especially on classroom management. Inshallah, if the students are are very cooperative, we need to establish some rules and agreements with the kids. If they are cooperative, inshallah, it's doable. Like for myself, I normally earlier this year, I made an agreement with the students to actually follow the rules. If they break the rules, they would have to come up with their own punishment, and they would be grouping lah. There would be rewards at the end of the year. So this actually gets my students to actually work as a team. They don't want to lose. They don't want to lose mark and to lose to the other groups. So basically, somehow that helps me a bit with my classes this year. Yeah, but I also understand different students, different classes have different. We need to cater them differently. I don't argue. I don't doubt that might happen as well. So yeah, be creative about your classroom management and also the activities. And one thing about Chinese Whisperer is that the students get to check their peers' answer. let's say this our student year 5, it's still under word level, you start with word level, sharing like maybe the target for the Perdana school students, we give 10 words. For these students, we give like 5 or 3. And then we recycle the vocab until you already know that they already understand it. And then you can move on to another, some other vocabularies for listening. And it could be done for other skills as well. So, okay, for listening skill, I'm opening question if you have question for listening skill. So basically, this is just a suggestion, sharing on how we could do on PSQ for listening skill. You may actually alter it to fit your own teaching style, your own activities, and be creative about it and your students lah. Okay. So no questions on listening skill? How to do it during, yes, Cikgu. How to do it during PDPR, that is true. For myself, later there will be pictures that we'll share later. I don't do Chinese whisperer with my students. What I did was I did macam, do you know cerita berangkai? Where I made an audio record of myself sharing the first sentences, and the student will create the stories. They would continue the stories with their own words. So basically, the advanced student will be sharing their advanced story. Yes, the story chain. Thank you so much. But probably the not so proficient student, they can share maybe one or two words that actually that they can actually share. It doesn't. We of course we need to encourage them a lot lah. A lot of encouragement needs to be given to the students. Yes, I have 39 students. Not all 39 shared their ideas, but it's a matter of giving them encouragement, especially during PDPR. Of course, we ourselves sometimes we also feel down, and we're talking about children. So we cannot expect that everyone need to give participation. Yes, of course we wanted that, but we also need to understand children are also having problems just like we did, having problem with the internet and also the gadgets. So yeah, a lot of encouragement. There might be days when our lessons are greatly participated by the student, but there might be times where there are no students at all. And I believe everyone have experienced that, and I did too. Yes, but teachers, don't be disheartened. Yeah, if we feel disheartened, what would our children feel? So we have to actually encourage them irregardless. Inshallah, teachers, we can do this. So basically, what I've shared here is just a suggestion. You can alter it to fit, and it's a matter of trying and experimenting, because I'm doing that as well. Sometimes my activities are like, I got a clap from my kids, and sometimes no one even responding to me. Yeah, so it's more of like shock sendiri sometimes, but it's okay, Cikgu. We are also learning. Okay, can I have the next slide for speaking skill? Yes, trial and error. It might work with this class, but it might not work with other class. So yeah. So for speaking skill, so from the data itself, we have identified there are 6 pupils that falls below level 3, which is TP1 and TP2. So yes, Cikgu, refer back to the lessons where you grade them, TP1 and TP2. Check the learning objective and check the descriptor. From there, you can see, okay, for example, from my lessons and from the descriptor and the CS and LS, I identified that these 6 students cannot even describe people, places, and objects using fixed phrases. Even we have given them fixed phrases, they couldn't do it. So this is speaking skill. So maybe they need a lot of facilitation from us. Yeah, you may actually provide them with sentence structure over and over, the same sentence structure until they're comfortable with it. And then later we move on to the next sentence structure. So one of the activities that I normally do with my student is start of the day. So these students, I would have them to actually share at least in one simple sentence. Of course, I'll give them the structure. They would fill in the blanks and share it out loud. So at first, maybe they need to read the sentence strip. But as we go along, we take away the sentence strip and see whether they have the confidence to actually use the same sentence structure. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to be a very slow process. but somehow what's more important is the students' progress. And of course, our planning lah. It's a bit complicated because we have to come up with plans for these 6 students and then our Perdana students. It's a bit complicated, but we could try at least rather than like leaving the 6 pupils behind gasping to learn. Yeah. So the target pupil will be sharing about their personal items. Yes, use something that are very close to the students using the target phrases and structure. So like I have mentioned at first, maybe we give them support and guidance, the sentence strip. And then later, the same sentence strip, maybe at different themes, you take away the sentence structure, the sentence strip, and see whether they can do it or not. If they can do it, so they have already get TP3 for that particular CS and LS. And Cikgu, one thing that is I find interesting for language learning, our DSKP itself is we are repeating the same skills and the same CS and LS. We finished off all the CS and LS in one semester, and then for the second semester, we'll be repeating the same CS and LS. So basically, we are recycling it, but we are using it in a different units, different themes, different topics. So we can actually recycle the sentence structure we have taught them and drilled the students later. Yes, for weak students, I do agree on drillings. I would choose drilling as well. But I'm open to any other suggestions because it's our teaching styles, it's our teaching approach, and also strategies. Everyone have their own opinion, but myself, for my weak students, yes, I would do drilling as well. But I'm not neglecting the skills. Let's say we are drilling listening skills. Yes, it's listening activities with the words we are focusing on. Maybe not, they are not good in vocabs. They don't have a lot of vocabs in their head. But at least maybe these 5 vocabs are useful to them. Remember, Cikgu, CFR is a can-do approach. Try to give activities that they can do and try to level it up a bit. Not give them like terus soalan susah and they couldn't even do it and give up. We want them to feel that they can do. And from there, they are motivated to do it. Yeah, so basically this is for speaking skill. And again, this is just a suggestion how you could go about it. Identify the problem, identify the students based on the data, and then check your learning objective and also the descriptor in the SKP, and then you plan out your activity. So I name it start of the day, and then the strategies, the steps that you would do. Yes. So I think that is from me for listening and speaking skills. How do we handle pupils who are TP1? They neither submit their work nor attend GM. Can we have remarks saying that we don't have evidence? Any suggestions? Okay, I'm not sure about this, Miss Cikgu Jayanti. Yes, I do agree with you. There are some students, they didn't attend GM, and also they never submit any work. But normally, I wouldn't just leave them behind. What I would do is I would call them or the parents asking, probably they're having personal issue. But let's say if they didn't even pick up our calls, then we can actually pass it back to the class teacher. Because from our part, that we cannot just like leave the students. At least we try to do as best as we could, and until we cannot do it anymore. So far from my opinion, what I would do is I would contact the students personally. I would text them or call them. If there's no reply, I will try to reach out to the class teacher and also the parents, and see whether the parents would actually help us out through that. And if the parents didn't do anything about it, then I think I can't do much but trying to contact them again and again lah. It's true. I mean, it's very renyah, like orang kata, Melayu kata. Sorry, it's very, difficult, but yeah, we cannot just leave them behind like that. Yeah, just try your best, Cikgu. I understand it's frustrating sometimes, but all we can do is just try, because that's our job. Okay, I'm opening Q&A before I want to pass this to Miss Vilo. Is there any other question? Could you please show the listening skill again for a while? Okay. Yes, Miss Chong. I understand. That happens. Maybe their basic needs are not met. We somehow or other we need to be understanding as well. I mean, it's frustrating and depressing sometimes, stressful. I'm sorry, Miss Chong, but I believe we are all in this. Sometimes I go, yeah, me too. True, Miss Chong. But it's okay.
Yeah,
We can do this.
I think we try to do what we can on our part, but
Yes.
then at the end of the day it depends on the parents and also the students, right? I know that some of the teachers might get demotivated when there's no response from the students. Okay, but maybe what we can do is that once the school opens, inshallah, okay, we try to reach to these students, okay, who did not who we can't reach during this period. All right. Okay.
Okay.
That's
I mean, the fact that you tried to reach out to your school counselors and school counselors had done a lot to help you out as well. That is, you've gone extra mile. So I mean, I applaud you for that. But if the students are not cooperating still, yeah, teacher, cikgu, you have done your best. And please don't give up. Don't just do it once. Try to reach out again. Maybe, who knows, one day through we were not giving up to the student, they would actually terbuka hati, open up to us. Yes. I think that is all from my sharing for listening and speaking. I'm going to pass it up to Miss Viloshena. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right, okay. Thank you, my dear. Thank you, Miss Madihah. I would like to continue and share with you all about reading skills. Reading skills. Can you all see my slide? Okay. All right. Now, if you look at the quadrant that Miss Madihah shared, hers was slightly general when she spoke about the students who were in TP1 and TP2, or performance level 1 and performance level 2. In my case, I teach in a smaller school, so I can be more specific in saying how many pupils are in level 1 and how many pupils are in level 2. It actually depends on the school that you're teaching in. If your school is a larger school, you can be general by saying like what Miss Madihah did just now. She said there were 6 people in TP below performance level 3. Or in my case, I was a bit more specific because my school is a smaller school. So I specified how many pupils are in level 1 and how many pupils are in level 2. Okay. Now, after identifying the students, the next thing that we should do is we should identify the issue. In my case, I got this issue from the descriptor in the SKP. Teachers, for y'all to identify the issue, it's better for y'all to refer to the DSKP. In the DSKP, the learning standards are specified, and for each learning standard, there is a descriptor. So you just have to refer to the descriptor for you to get the issue, the relevant issue. When you're teaching one particular learning standard, teachers, when we are teaching that learning standard, we already know that the students are weak in that particular learning standard. So that is the issue that we'll be facing actually. That's the issue that the students are facing in order for them to achieve a higher learning, higher performance level. Okay, in the case of this, I have selected students are unable to read and comprehend the main ideas, specific information, and details of 2 or more paragraphs. I think this is one of the most neglected skills. Students are seldom taught how to identify main ideas and specific information or details in a text. And I believe if they know these, right, teachers, actually this skill, this particular issue, if you overcome this issue, it will also help them in their writing skill, because the main idea and specific information is very much related to writing as well. So if you overcome this issue in reading, you will be able to overcome this issue in their writing of paragraphs. Now, what I did is, or what I do, again, I teach in a small rural school. So my students, they can read most of the time, but they find it difficult to comprehend whatever they have read. So what I do is I accompany the text that I give them with pictures. All right, so in this case, my intervention is I use trees connect. The trees here, I'm referring to the I think map of a tree, the tree map. Okay, that I think the tree map is one of the best ways to teach main ideas and specific information or details. So what I normally do for students who are in level 1 and level 2 is I give them the same text that I give the level 3, 4, 5, and 6 students. And then but the level 1 students, level 1 and level 2 pupils, I give them a text that has got pictures in it. So they'll be able to connect the text that they read together with the picture and see they can have a better, clearer vision of what they're reading. Based on whatever they have read, I will ask them to identify and highlight what they think are the ideas. And then I will ask them to group the ideas into, what do they think is the main idea and what do they think are the specific information or details. An important point to note here, teachers, I do not straight away go to the text that's in the textbook to teach them this particular, to expose them to this particular learning standard or issue. What I would do is I would give them a text that they can connect to in order for them to learn what is the meaning of main idea, what is the meaning of specific information or details. For an example, I teach in a Tamil school and my students love and enjoy watching Tamil movies. So I would use references of the Tamil movie actors. For an example, I'm sure most of y'all are familiar with Rajinikanth. So I would say, my favorite movie star is Rajinikanth. Rajinikanth is, how old is he? Where does he live? How many movies has he acted in? Okay, based on that, I would ask them to identify, okay, what is this whole text about? And then they will say the whole text is about Rajinikanth teacher. Okay, that is the main idea. So you give them things that they can be familiar with. Yes, I know teachers, you might tell me we have to follow the textbook. Remember, the textbook is a teaching aid. And we have to adapt and adopt the textbook, the contents in the textbook to suit our students. Do not take the textbook wholesale. Make sure you adopt it and adapt it according to your students' needs. So what you do is you teach them things that they can connect to first, because pupils in level 1 and level 2 are pupils who cannot look at the bigger picture at once. They have to be guided first, and then only they can be exposed to the text in the textbook. So you show them things that they can connect to, and then you take them to things that so they can see the relevance to things that it's like in the textbook. Okay, teachers? So based on, after they've highlighted the ideas, right, I'll ask them to highlight, okay, the main idea, you use a blue. And then the supporting details, I'll tell them, okay, you use a different color and you highlight. And then you group the ideas. After grouping the ideas, I'll tell them to draw a tree map, whereby in the tree map, of course, the main idea will be on top, followed by the specific information or details that will be below. Okay, teachers? All right, okay. After that, what I will do is, okay, if they are unable to do that, what you can actually do is you can actually ask their peers, or like what some teachers said just now, ask those who are in level 5 and level 6 to guide them. By asking their peers to guide this level 1 and level 2 pupils, we are actually doing two things. One is we are encouraging buddy system, whereby the good students will approach and help the weaker ones. And another very important point for us to note is, in order for the student to be awarded a performance level of 6 or TP6, the student must be able to guide their peers. That's in the descriptor as well. Later on, we will show you that. So you can kill two birds in one stone. One, they'll help their peers, and you'll be able to identify who's able to guide their peers, and that student can be awarded a performance level of 6. That would be your proof or your evidence later on. Okay, teachers, any questions for reading so far? No. Am I going too fast or something like that? No, right? Okay, okay. So I'll move on to writing, all right? Okay. Now, for writing, again, my school is a small school, so I can be specific. How many students are in performance level 1 and how many students are in performance level 2? All right. Here, again, the issue that I've identified are students are unable to use capital letters, full stop, commas in list, and question marks in independent writing at discourse level. You may ask me, why didn't I just use and simplify my issue to punctuation? Punctuation is a very general term to be used because punctuation includes semicolons, open inverted and close inverted, and then you also have exclamation mark. But if you refer to the year 5 DSKP and the learning standard as well as the descriptor, it is specific to only these items. That is why I specified capital letters, full stops, commas in list, and question marks. Okay, based on this, I will try to use the intervention of let's improvise. All right, what do I do for let's improvise? Okay, normally the students who are in performance level 1 and performance level 2 are seldom given the opportunity to be to feel like they are good. Okay, so what you can actually ask them to do is, okay, you tell, okay, today you're going to pretend to be a teacher. There are mistakes in these sentences. I want you to correct them. All right. Now, you can give the same activity to students who are in level 3, 4, 5, and 6. But what you should do is, you should do differentiation. The ones who are in level 5 and 6 or 3 and 4 is you give them sentences which have got mistakes. Or you can give the level 5 and level 6 paragraphs, 3 and 4 sentences. The mistakes are there, but they would have to identify the mistakes and correct them by themselves. But those who are in level 1 and level 2, you circle the mistakes and you ask them to correct it. That means you have identified the mistakes for them. Maybe number 1, number 2, number 3, you identify the mistakes and you ask them to correct it. But number 4 and number 5, you ask them to look for the mistakes themselves. You know, when we were in Teachers Training College, they taught us about GD, gradually diminishing control, whereby the first few sentences will be guided and the next one they have to do by themselves. We can practice that for performance students who are in TP1 and TP2. Okay. In my school, what I would do is I would provide them with a table, a punctuation table, whereby I would say, okay, now I'll give them examples of the punctuation, when it's supposed to be used, an example of sentences. Okay, for an example, right, question marks. There are certain words that require us to use question marks. So I would actually place those words in the box so that my students will know, oh, if they see this word, they'll be able to identify, oh, if I see this word, I should use the question mark at the end. Okay, that's a technique that I use. Okay, after providing them the table, I would ask them, give them the sentences and ask them to correct the sentences. You can actually tell them, okay, you use the red pen. Children get excited over small things like this. You tell them, okay, you can use the red pen, they'll be excited. Ask them to correct the mistakes, and then you display their answers around the class. If it's back to face-to-face learning, you can actually display the answers around the class and ask them to walk around the class. And then after, alternatively, if during our online sessions, you can use Google Slides, whereby each student will be provided with one Google slide. You ask them to correct the mistakes in their respective Google Slides. So while they are correcting their slides, you can actually monitor them. That means like slide 1 is given to student A, slide 2 is given to student B. So you can actually identify them, who's doing which slide, and you can actually correct them, and their peers can also help them. This can be done 2 ways. If you're doing it individually, you can ask them to individually correct the sentences. And if you have a larger class, you can actually pair them up or put them in groups, whereby a mixed ability group. In one group, you have students who are in TP1, TP2, as well as students who are in TP3, 4, and 5 or 6. Whereby, as mentioned previously, those who are in TP3, 4, 5, and 6 can actually assist and help those who are in TP1 and TP2. Again, by doing this, you will be doing 2 things. You will be able to identify which students are deserving of performance level 5 and 6, and those who should be in TP1, TP2. Okay, teachers, any questions so far? Any questions? Teachers, I can't, if you all have any questions, please ask me any questions. Okay. Okay, just a minute now, let me check if there's any questions, before I move on, just a minute, yeah. All right, I can see. Okay, no questions so far. Okay, teachers. Yes, error identification. Yes, yes, Zahirah. Thank you. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Any other? Okay, there's no questions. Means I'll move on. Okay. Now let's see. Where? Oops. Wait. Okay. This minute. All right. Okay. Now let's see. Where did Miss Madihah and I get our issues from? As mentioned previously, we got it from the DSKP. All right. If you look at the DSKP clearly, you can actually see the descriptors. Our issues actually came from these descriptors. Where do these descriptors come from? It comes from all of our learning standards. Okay, teachers. If you look at our learning standard, which will be just before this, you can look at the learning standard. Each learning standard is closely related to one descriptor. Sometimes 2 or 3 learning standards will be combined and placed under one descriptor. So what we should do is, or what my suggestion would be is, as a panel, you sit down and identify this descriptor is in reference to which learning standard. So when you do that, you could actually say, okay, when you're teaching this learning standard, you'll be able to identify, oh, but the students have got problem in this learning standard, so they should be given more guidance in this learning standard. So it will be more easier for you to work as a team. So my suggestion again, as A panel sit down and discuss. Each descriptor is referring to which particular learning standard. And as mentioned before, you see, if you notice, teachers, for performance level 1, a lot of support. With a lot of support, the support actually goes down as it goes down the level, as level increases. Here can guide others in a given task. So if you give a student a level 6 student to help his peer or her peer who are in level 1 and 2, and the guidance given is good, the student is automatically deserving of a performance level of 6 because they are able to guide their friends or peers. This is one way for you to identify who is actually deserving of a performance level of 6, and you can actually use that as an evidence for you later on. Okay, teachers? So remember, again, what you should do is sit down as a team in your panels and identify each descriptor is in reference to which learning standard. So you will be able to identify the issues or the root cause for the students who are in the lower performance level later on. Okay, again, this is for the descriptors for listening. This is the descriptors for speaking. This is the descriptors for reading. Am I going too fast? You can actually see all of this is in your DSKP. Just after each learning standards, after each skills learning standards, these descriptors will be there. So identify each descriptor is referring to which particular learning standard. Okay, teachers? And this is for writing. Sometimes 2 learning standards will be combined and placed under one descriptor. And okay, teachers, as I mentioned just now, you see here, teachers, you see spell words and use punctuation. Here, there are 2 learning standards. If I'm not mistaken, the spell words is one learning standard and use punctuation is actually another learning standard. So when you teach both these learning standards, it actually, how do I say, it refers to one particular descriptor. But in the learning standard, it's 2. So you will be able to identify, okay, if I teach, my students have got a problem with spelling as well as punctuation. So they need a lot of guidance in that. So you just identify here, okay, what you can do is you print this and then you place it in, you just draw a bracket here and place which particular learning standard is this referring to, which particular standard is this referring to, so you can identify your issues later on. Okay, teachers, any questions before I pass the baton to Ms. Zahirah?
That's a question.
There's a question, okay, wait, just a minute, I'll see first media. Okay, wait.
I think there's a question.
All right. Okay, thanks, Ms. Zahirah. Listen here.
Hi, Vilo. Could you please share how you record your pupils' performance before awarding TP?
You mean the? Are you referring to the transit record?
Yes, Vilo, yes.
Who am I? Oh, Padrina, yeah. Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, right one. I must look for it. One, is it okay if I share it on later to with Ms. Zahirah so she can share it together with the Bahan? Is that okay?
Just explain to us on how you keep the record before awarding a TP to the pupils.
Sorry, I can't. You mean like how each learning standard is it one?
Yes. Before we awarding the TP, right? We need to keep
one.
the record, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how you keep it? Is there any template or any form or any instruments that you use?
I have a template, but I can't look for it now. Point.
Oh, okay. So meaning that you have you have a template for recording, right?
Yes. Normally,
okay, thank you.
Because what we can do is that it's better if you have a template whereby you place like each learning standard. So later on, you just under each learning standard, you give a TP. When you what you do is the teachers when you wait a minute sorry. Okay.
Since we cannot call the form as transit form anymore.
Don't name that as that.
We cannot name the form as transit
form. Yes.
Yes, we need to have our own.
Maybe you can have it as just don't name it as the transit form. Name it something else. Yes. Thank you.
Usually we call it as record perkembangan murid.
Yes.
We don't use that term transit anymore. We use as record perkembangan murid. So it's like one way of teachers on how they want to keep evidence of the students, students' progress or students' work.
My suggestion is what you can do is you write the you write the learning standard, and when you want to award the TP, is you refer here. Like let's say you, for an example, you write, if I'm not mistaken, let's say 4.1.2, 4.2.1 for an example. Let's say it's able to spell words correctly. So 4.2.1, and then you refer here, can display minimal ability to spell words. Okay, if they can do that, minimal ability, you give them a 1 under 2.1, 4.2.1. Then after that, 4.2.2, let's say it's punctuation. Under that, maybe they are better at that. So that's a 2 or a 3. Then after that, you have to, how do I say, you should use your professional judgment to identify which particular overall performance level that you want to award to your students. But when you're giving the overall performance level, you have to take into consideration all these 3 points, not only one. You have to take into consideration all these 3 points as well as all the learning standards. Do not only refer to one. Make sure you refer to all 3. So teachers, when you award the TP, it's very important for us to refer to these descriptors. It's very, very important for us to refer to these descriptors. Okay, Ken, thank you. Puan Zarina, okay?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the explanation.
Okay, Puan, thank you. Thank you, Puan. Okay, any other questions, teachers? No questions means I would hand over the baton to Ms. Zahirah. Before I go, I would like to thank Ms. Zahirah as well as Puan Hajah Hanisa for giving me this opportunity to share the little knowledge that I have. Actually, teachers, what we do in school, there are many things that we do in school which is actually intervention, but we are doing it unknowingly. So you just have to, how do I say, there are many things that we do, teachers, we do it unknowingly, that's actually intervention. So do not worry. Carry on with whatever you're doing, and like what Madihah said just now, just because we have 1 or 2 students who do not cooperate with us, don't give up. All of us are doing a great job, teachers, and thank you, everyone. I would like to hand over the baton to Ms. Zahirah.
All right, thank you, Ms. Vilo. Okay, all right. So I think we shall proceed to the next slide. So now, thank you. I would like to thank Ms. Madihah and also Ms. Viloshena for sharing what they have done, okay, with the students, how they did it, okay, especially during this PDPR, okay. All right. So next, we are going to have a look. We are almost at the end of the PLC session, okay, but I would like to share with you, okay, remember that in the earlier part I mentioned about data. You need to analyze the data, okay, and then you will have your supporting data, correct? So these are examples of supporting data that you can have, okay. So for example, you can use SPDPR data. All right, and then you can use the students' attendance and students' work or your own reflection. Okay, so this is this is one of the example that I use, okay, during my dialogue prestasi, whereby I have the main data, okay, PBD data for year 2 and 3. Okay, for example, this is one of the sekolah plan, okay. So and then their performance, the students' performance, I try to relate it with the data from pelaporan PDPR. So for example, yeah, as you can see that this school, okay, the students more than 10% of the students actually are in TP1 and 2, only for except for maths year 2. So we try to correlate, okay, we try to have a look at the students' participation, okay, or students' involvement during the PDPR in that particular week from 14 to 18 June. So as we can see there, okay, the numbers of students who did not involve in the PDPR is higher compared to students who actually attended the online class and also the offline classes. All right. Okay, next. Okay, and also this is another example of SJKT Ladang West Country Timur, also another sekolah plan, okay, another school for plan. All right, when we look, okay, the data for SJKT Ladang West Country, there's no students except for Bahasa Melayu for year 3. Only for that they have students in TP2, but only one students, okay, or 1.89%. So we try to correlate with, we want to see, okay, how about the students' attendance in the PTPR, their attendance in PTPR classes. So at according to the week 14 to 18 June, okay, we can see that all of the students actually attended the lesson, okay, the classes. And also the following week, also the same. Almost all students, more students actually attended online classes compared to the offline. So meaning that teachers actually, we can see that the teachers can do the assessment, okay, the teachers can do the assessment to the students. So this uh, this is an example of how you can correlate your data, your PBD data with the supporting data. All right, next. Okay. Okay, I will go through with you some of the evidence, okay, evidence that Miss Viloshena and also Miss Madihah shared. Okay, this is from Miss Madihah's class, whereby the one that she did, story chain. Okay, this is the evidence for students' work in listening and speaking. So this is considered as offline, okay, offline mode. Okay, next. All right, so we have an evidence for offline lesson as well. For this is by Miss Viloshena, whereby her school use modules, okay, use modular approach, whereby they provide modules to students. In the modules, Miss Viloshena actually prepared lessons for all skills according to that particular week, for that particular week. All right, so the parents or the students who receive the module, they will respond in the WhatsApp group. Okay. All right, so and then next what you can do is, this is the evidence of students' response to Q&A on Google Meet. Okay, for your information, you know that now Google Meet it has a lot of functions or features, okay, which you can use actually during your if you have your online class. Okay, so one of the example is like what I did earlier, whereby you use polls, okay, to ask questions, okay, and then you can also use Q&A sessions, okay, in the button, activities button, you can find that there's a Q&A. Actually, I opened the Q&A slot, but I think most of you prefer to use the chat box, okay, to to give to ask questions or to give feedback. But then you have a specific column whereby you can ask Q&A. All right. So, and this is what Miss Madihah did. Okay. So she asked question, and then the students actually answered at the Q&A slot features. Okay. So this is one of the evidence, a record that you can keep. Okay. As supporting data to support your data. All right, so who responds to the question, okay, who actually participate, all right, in the class. Okay, next. All right, next. Okay, so this is another evidence if you're having online class. Okay, you can have the evidence of students' attendance on Google Meet. As you know, nowadays, I think the features in Google Meet, they will actually after you have finished your class, or after you have finished any session, online session, Google Meet session, you will actually receive an email of the students that a list of students who attended your class, your online class. Okay. So what you can do, all right. So what you can do if you have online class, you can actually have a record of students who um who entered your class. Okay, you even got this time duration. If you can see, okay, on the slides, you can you have the name, all right, and then the duration. So you know, okay, oh, these students entered on time, these students came in late to your class. Okay, if you can see oh the student entered, okay, for 41 minutes. So maybe he entered late, for example, okay, or he went out early from the class. So this is examples of evidence that you can keep. Okay, next. Okay, we are almost there. Okay, and this is the SPDPR data. This is an evidence on students' attendance. So example like this for Miss Madihah's class. So all students participate in the lesson. So basically those who didn't involve on who didn't attend the online class, so she actually gave the what materials or the task in the WhatsApp group. So she did both, right? Correct? Am I right, Madihah? Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
So
music.
all of the students attended the lesson. Okay, but I believe that I think her class she got high rates of attendance, right?
Most of the time there are around 30.
Yeah.
Altogether 39, so I've identified 9 who couldn't attend.
Yeah,
So I did reach out to them and ask them how they prefer it to be, and they
so
agreed with WhatsApp.
yes, so basically like Madihah's class, most of the students attended the online class, 30 over 39 students. Okay, all right, next. Okay, so we have come to the end of our session. All right, okay, we have come to the end of the session. So before we end, all right, I would like to get feedback from teachers, okay, on what you're going to do next. Okay, I'll share with you. Next slide, please. Sorry. Okay, so after this, when you go back to school, okay, or after this session, maybe you can start thinking, okay, if you are going to do a PLC with your English language panel members, okay, these are the questions that you can ask, okay, yourself and your colleagues. Okay, actually, do we fully utilize the PBD data that we have? Okay, so from this session today, do we actually really use our PBD data? Okay, and questions that you can ask later when you are doing PLC. Okay, which skill does your students need the most intervention? So which skill that really needs your attention? Okay, and number 2, how do you relate this activity with real issues in your classroom? So how you want to relate this, okay, in your classroom, and what are your intervention plans for your students? So you can ask, okay, yourself, okay, and also your teachers, all right, your English panel members, what are the intervention that suits to your students' need? Okay, so I believe most of you here are middle leaders. Okay, before we end, I would like you to share with us, okay, the exit ticket. Okay, yeah, share with us. Okay, next, what would you do as a middle leader? All right, what would you do as a middle leader before we end our session? So maybe I can, I think I've already also shared with you attendance and feedback form. Okay, once you have filled in the attendance and feedback form, you can also share, maybe give feedback on what you would do as a middle leader. We really appreciate your feedback. Okay, maybe I can share with you my slides. All right. The last one, yes. Okay, the last. Yes. You can stop sharing. Before we end, hold on. I would like to share. Hold on, yeah. Okay, I got few responses here. See my slide. Okay. So what would you do? Okay, as a middle leader. Okay. Okay, share with other teachers in my school. Okay, guide teachers to analyze data. Good. And process information. Okay, yeah. And create better intervention plan. Yes, that's correct. I think what we learned today is that we learn how to come up with more focused intervention. We can plan for a better intervention after more focus. All right. Okay. Share best practices. Okay. Do PLC with my teacher. Yep. Okay. Reduce pupils who achieve TP1 and 2. Okay, good. That's good. Analyze the data. Share knowledge. All right. Okay. Share the PSQ. Yes. I also shared with you, if you if you realize, I already shared with you the link of the PSQ form. So you can use that. All right, when you want to plan for intervention or for issues or intervention. All right, discuss plan. Okay. So yeah, okay, it's okay. I learn more in data analysis. Oh, that's good. All right. Okay, so I guess that's the end of our session. All right. Couldn't open the PSQ form. I think you can download, right? Anyone who can't download the form? I'll share again the form with you. Okay, before we end our session. Okay, so I think we have come to the end of the session. It's already 4:30. Alhamdulillah, we are on track. Okay. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone today for joining this PLC session. Okay, I heard that there are many teachers who can't join today's session. All right, but it's okay. Inshallah, we will share this session in the YouTube later. I will upload it on the YouTube and we'll share to other teachers. All right, and all the materials, inshallah, I will share also to with the SIC Plus, and you can get it from the SIC in your district. Okay, so and thanks again to Puan Haja Hanisa for giving us the opportunity to share with the teachers, and also to Miss Madihah and also Miss Viloshena for willingly to join with me and share what they have done in the classroom. All right. So thank you so much, everyone. Don't forget, fill in the attendance form and the link. All right. All right. Okay. Madihah.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Zahirah, for the sharing. I think that is all about our session for today. I hope it has actually benefited and also probably will benefit all of us later, inshallah. And thank you so much, teachers, for like joining in and staying with us up until 4:30. I noticed that we have put in the poster is up until 4, but you guys stayed. I noticed there are like 251 participants still up until 4:30. Thank you very much. May God bless you and also reward you with the effort you put for our students and also our education system. And please take care of yourself and also stay safe and lindung diri. Lindung diri, jaga diri and lindung diri. All right, thank you so much, teachers. Thank you to Puan Haja as well for the opportunity. I would like to thank on behalf of Vilo as well and myself that we are very thankful for this opportunity, Puan Haja and Ms. Zahirah. Thank you very much. And I'll see you inshallah whenever we get to see you, teachers, and have a good day ahead. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Miss Madihah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for the wonderful sharing.
Thank you.
Hello,